I'm gonna try to add, let me see something, widgets. Mm, I think I'm gonna put, let's see if I can find it again. I'll put it over here. If I can move it. I want to move you over here. Why is it not moving? There you go. I want to move you over here. Yeah, you can. I want to keep you small. Just move you around. Oh Lord. Okay, I think that's fine. Well, I don't want it cutting my face off. Let me see. You guys bear with me. I'm trying to get my chat so I can see y'all a little better. I think that'll be fine right there. Okay, let's stop it right here. All right, thank you guys for joining. This is Livv. I got us. Why am I seeing it over here? This is so weird. You're not supposed to be over here. Oh well, I'll just let you stay right here. Hello from West Australia by the way of Oakland. Okay. Hey, way too real. So I got a video for us to watch. We're going to be discussing birth tourism and how many immigrants here in America is exploiting birthright citizenship. And that's something we've talked a lot about on this channel. So I have a clip and I want to know what you guys think. This is an older clip, but here's the clip.
Are those in the immigrants' rights community who have argued passionately that we should simply provide those who are illegally with legal status, or at least ignore the laws on the books and put an end to deportation until we have better laws. And often this argument is framed in moral terms. Why should we punish people who are just trying to earn a living? I recognize the sense of compassion that drives this argument. But I believe such an indiscriminate approach would be both unwise and unfair. It would suggest to those thinking about coming here illegally that there will be no repercussions for such a decision. This could lead to a surge in more illegal immigration. It would also ignore the millions of people around the world who are waiting in line to come here legally. Ultimately, our nation, like all nations, has the right and obligation to control its borders and set laws for residency and citizenship. And no matter how decent they are, no matter their reasons, the 11 million who broke these laws should be held accountable.
Okay, you guys, that was a clip from Fox News from former President Barack Obama. Let me know if you agree with his message, with his speech, and put an emphasis on that there are legal immigrants that are waiting in line and doing things the right way. And he also acknowledged that there are those that are pro immigration, feel as if it is okay to just come across our borders with no repercussion, like no consequences from doing that. And he also said that all nations have a right to protect their borders. Okay? Let me know if y'all agree with our former President Barack Obama. So today I want to talk about, I got some articles from one of my really, really good friends. I'll call her back. Yeah, so sentencing a California woman, she got sentenced 3 years in prison for her role in helping pregnant Chinese women travel to the United States to give birth so that their babies would automatically receive U.S. citizenship under our birthright laws. Do you guys think that her receiving 3 years was enough sentence for, they counted, I heard reports that it was like 1.5 million, was it million or billion babies? Let me look at my notes. That's here in America. They had a whole organization, a very sophisticated organization they was running. So there's, I'm gonna say there's three key details from that case that I want to cover, okay? Okay, so her name is Phoebe Dong, and her husband, Michael, I think his last name is spelled Leo. Liu is spelled Liu. They ran a company called USA Happy Baby that helped Chinese women come to the United States to give birth. Another fact in the details in that court case is they were convicted of conspiracy and money laundering in a federal court in Los Angeles. Now they schemed and coached women on how to hide their pregnancies and deceive immigration officials. So I got some articles here so that we can go over it together. So it's not like you just hearing it from me. You can see the information yourself. And these articles I pulled, I don't want the article covering up my face. The articles I pulled is from Associated Press, and we'll go over them together. So this could be a reason why many of us or many of our children right now can't even afford housing, because listen to this clip. Let me know if y'all can see that, if I got it big enough, but I'll read it. It says federal agents entered an upscale apartment complex where authorities say a birth tourism business charged pregnant women $50,000 for lodging, food, and transportation. And this was in Irvine, California, back in March. So the California woman was sentenced Monday to more than 3 years in prison in a long running case over a business that helped pregnant Chinese women travel to the United States to deliver babies who automatically became American citizens. Crazy, right? And I believe personally that when it comes to the fraud that has been operating in these shadow economy in America, they're just scratching the surface. So Minnesota is, I mean, they're getting a lot of attention in mainstream media, but this is happening across the country. Right here it says that Dong and her husband were among more than a dozen people charged in an Obama era crackdown on what they're calling birth tourism schemes that help Chinese women hide their pregnancies while traveling to the United States to give birth. So these type of businesses have long operated in various states, catering to people from China, Russia, Nigeria, and elsewhere. I remember I had a subscriber. They were wanting me to report. They were wanting me to report on a lot of the African immigrants because they was letting me know that they have been rude to them and was flexing on them here in their country. And I didn't get to fully cover theirs because many of them are not crossing the borders. When it comes to those you know what, I think I did cover this in one of my videos. I'll have to go back and see the name of one of them. But when it comes to those immigrants that's coming from China, Russia, Nigeria, and other countries like that, they're overstaying their visa, or when they do come over, I think I'm not going to get ahead of myself because I think I'm going to go over this in one of these articles. It's going to speak about it. So this one that I have up, it says under the 14th Amendment, they're saying that their children can secure a U.S. college education. And then they say that, especially since the tourists themselves can apply for a permanent residency after the child turns 21. So what they're doing is they're coming over here. I'm going to show you the stages on how this operation is working. They're coming over here, having a baby, then they go back to their country and raise their child. And once that child gets 18 years old, they're able to come back to America, go to our colleges for free using our resources and state and taxpayers' money in order to get a college degree. And that's why when I first started speaking about birthright citizenship, and they were saying that trying to provoke fear on foundational Black Americans, telling them that they're next, I was like, it's not us that should be afraid, it's them, because they're holding positions in order to tell us to make policies, legislations, laws to tell us what to do in our country. And what many Americans been knowing and speaking about, but no one has put any effort to enforce our laws and start to crack down on this tourism. Is treason, what many of them are doing. And so what's happening is I just believe that this is an era for exposure so that we all can see the truth. It's not like I believe it was always there. It was hidden in plain sight, but many of us are just trying to survive and go about our everyday life. But yeah, they're able to apply, their parents are able to apply for permanent residency once their children turn 21 years old, and then they also have dual citizenship. Let me read some of y'all messages. No, she shouldn't have gotten no, she should have gotten more time. That's at A Jones. I agree too. I thought that 3 years was very generous for a crime that they're making a lot of money off of right here in America. Like they was charging people $50,000 and up, putting them in these high scale apartments. Like I just read the article and you guys saw it for yourself. but we'll keep moving. I'm gonna pull y'all another clip up. Okay, so this clip shows that the U.S. judge didn't only sentence Dong, but they sentenced her husband too, who was convicted for the conspiracy and money laundering through their company called USA Happy Baby. And this is sentencing that came like it really came to a head after birthright citizenship. That's why I believe they're just not getting prison time. But of course, when you in the court system, it takes a long time too. But I'm happy that they are holding them accountable because something needed to happen, and that's why everything here in America is expensive now. Okay, let me. What is the next clip? Oh, because this is something I spoke about too, and I'm glad I found an article. This article here is talking about. I remember in my video, in my previous videos, I was discussing how they're getting coached, and you wonder how an immigrant come to America and they're already able to buy homes, buy all these vehicles, and seem as if they're living high off the hog because they're being coached. Right here in this article, it says that they paired work. What does it say? They said they paired worked with others to coach women on how to trick custom officials by flying into airports believed to be more relaxed while wearing loose fitting clothing to hide their pregnancies. So they're coaching them on how to exploit our systems. It's like a shadowing system running right alongside of ours. And this is for tens of thousands of dollars. Each defendant helped her numerous customers receive U.S. authorities, deceive U.S. authorities, and buy U.S. citizenship. They're literally selling U.S. citizenship under the for exploiting the 14th Amendment in birthright citizenship for their children. Okay, I think I have one more on here. I just wanted you guys to see this for yourself. The USA Happy Baby case was part of a broader probe into businesses that help Chinese women travel to give birth in California. The operator of another business is believed to have fled to China, and this was written in court filings, while another was sentenced in 2019 to 10 months in prison after pleading guilty to conspiracy and visa fraud. And they was running a company known as You Win USA. I mean, that's that's very creative. You Win USA. This is this person's here. That was their company name. They come into America already running companies, and just while we as Americans doing it the right way, whether you are a middle class citizens, American citizens, or those that are needing this system, is getting just stripped away from them. And even I was telling everybody, I don't even think this is a Democratic versus Republican party. I think that we are both. Many of Americans across this country are agreeing on something needed to be done about this. And I don't know what the right way is, but at least they're doing something. Oh, I was going to show you guys something else I had. Oh yeah. So one of the things that they do with this is it's an industry. It's a sophisticated industry that they are operating. It is reports that they lie on their visa application, and this is where the criminal charges come in today. And they claim to be tourists, um, and like they said, they find these airports and get on these planes that are more relaxed, like they're not enforcing or checking to see if they're pregnant or anything, and they're wearing loose fitting clothes so that when they see the application, they're not even checking that they're pregnant or coming to America to have a baby. I got this off of, this kind of explains it a little bit better. So what they do is, this is how the birth tourism schemes work. Parents hire a birth tourism company. They have a whole company and more than one. We just named two. And the third one that we have data on, he left the country and went back to China. So the parents, they hire a birth tourism company. The pregnant women flies to the USA, to the United States. The child is born and automatically becomes a US citizen, and then the parents apply for permanent residency when the child turns 21. Mind you, that child has dual citizenship now, and we all are in agreement that birthright citizenship and the 14th Amendment was never made created or for this, and never should have been extended to this, because it just makes no sense. It's stupid, and they got us looking crazy out here. Like, America is so stupid that we would make a law that anyone that comes here and they can automatically have um, a baby, and they have birthright citizenship, inheritance to the land. No one will be foolish enough to make that a law. So I already told you guys that they fly back to China to raise their child. And one of the problems that we're seeing now, as most people are not understanding, that China is a communist country. So when their children come here and they're able to vote, they're applying to donate money for their political campaigns, and they're applying for government jobs and positions. And then we sit back and wonder why Trump administration is having so much problem and pushback out of the courts. It's because many of our the judicial system is, when it comes to those, not just the people that are in Congress, or it's our judges. They're immigrants themselves. I do not believe they love our country. That's why, me personally, I don't believe in dual citizenship. And one of the horrors of all of this is the federal government has not been tracking this at all. Look at what they're doing. If you're watching, you can completely see the scheme that's going on. Let me see if I can pull that up. So right here, it says more than 1 million Chinese with US citizenship who grew up in communist China will soon start voting in the American election. They're setting up for years to come where we won't even we will be foreigners in our own country. This will not even be America, the United States of America anymore. Let me see what some of you guys are saying. Mm. Oh, it says, add be hydrated 9829. says, Liv, that's in not my neighborhood. Oh my God. Yeah, so sorry that this is happening, but if it makes you feel any better, this is going on all over America, not just in your neighborhood. Okay. Yes. I can't lie. At Nadine Henderson. Whoops, I lost that message. At Nadine Henderson, she said something like, if this was Black Americans, the charges would have been 15 to 30 years maximum. I know. I do understand it. This is so disappointing because I've said it before that when it comes to Americans, we've 3 years, that's nothing for the crime and the money that I feel like they've stolen. And they will give you 15 to 30 years for a first offense. Thank you so much, at Divine. But I try to take every situation, you guys, and think of something positive because I just believe that this is all happening for a reason. I believe this is going to draw us as Americans closer because I feel as if we're again sucked into what both political parties are fighting for, and I do not feel like they're feeling what the average American people, everyday American people that are working hard, trying to provide for their families and just be happy and peaceful, and been trying to set goals and reach them for generations. I feel like many of us are on the same page with that. And I think that it's going to draw us closer together. And at one point, for me, if I could have it, I believe we need another party. Like, it's like they've waited so long and there's been so much damage done till I know something great has to um, come from this. Okay. Hi, at Following the Sports. Thank you for being a loyalty member. I see that you have the boots. Democrats with all this junk, they bring them over. Oh, let me see. I lost it. They bring them over here and give them all the benefits while taxpayers work to carry this country. Bull junk. I can feel your frustration. Me too. Like, I try to keep my cool on here, but it's very frustrating. That's why I say it's going to bring us closer together. Let me see what she's saying. She says, it says, at Letitia Martin, 6860. I know this girl that live in Jamaica came over here when she was 8 months pregnant to give birth to her baby, then went back to her country after she had the baby. Yes, I mean, I get frustrated. I start to cussing and I don't want to do that. But that's what they've been doing. And then many of them, we're not speaking about the H-1B visas, but they come over here, have their baby, get on our resources, and then take money back to their own country. It says add your some it's at URSAMAHAN. Foundational Black Americans need a pact. Hmm. Count me in. It says LOL, I've had to hold back. I know, right? It's frustrating to be a Black American citizen who needs resources in Los Angeles. The way they've done California in general, I believe that, I'm gonna say that, like, they're really trying to take over our country from the inside. And what I believe what they're doing, instead of going to war, China is linked up with Venezuela, Mexico, Honduras. All of them are linking up around our borders. And Mexico, they do not want the citizens that come here, the immigrants that come here, to have any type of allegiance to America at all. And that's why I believe that it is so dangerous for Americans. It's not the children's fault. I'm not saying it at all, but it's so dangerous for them to speak so ill against Americans, and their children are raised hearing this and hating Americans. And many of them would, some, not all of them, because I don't want to give them that much credit, because what they're doing to our school districts, our public school districts, they want everybody to be stupid, because many of them do not have a degree in education. They're using alternatives that they go to college for free with. And then because the population or the demographic is overpopulated with immigrants, they want to hire people to just show representation, but they don't know how to do lesson plans. So the children, the American children, and this is something I know firsthand, they're not getting any help, they're not getting any assistance. And all of this is being done on purpose. It's intentional. It's sad. That sad part is that America has been voting for decades after decades, and the Black Caucus and Democratic Party have done nothing for their main base, Black Americans that have been loyal. That's one thing about Black Americans. I can say this: we are loyal people, and sometimes it takes us. We're so loyal, we can see that things are not going right and still want the best. We have such kind spirits. I always want to see the best in someone and welcome everyone. It doesn't matter what ethnicity they are. We Black Americans have been the ones that always welcome anyone, but that really frustrates me. Mm-mm. And then they get exploited. They the ones who get the bad end of the stick, but that's okay. Thank you so much for your support, having everybody to help. Let me see what this one say. They actually place their kids in extra programs. Someone from a group told me this. She called it a secret. They pull their money. Yes, I know this absolutely. They have schools on Saturdays and Sundays weekly. My hope is that all Americans, not just foundational Black Americans, because I believe they're playing us. They playing us against each other. But I feel like we are going to unite, because we're not going to sit here and let someone take our country away from us. Like I mean, I'm not I'm not praising any political leader on either side, because both of them can be so deceitful. And just something happens when our elected officials get into the president house. And I don't know what it, well, I have my perspective on what it is, but it just something happened. I choose to pray for them no matter which leader that is in the house. I tend to just pray for them because there's nothing we can do, and pray that they carry out the will that God has placed on them to do, and surround them around people that are going to do that. A lot are switching that. I agree, but FBI's are always the lead. Not enough time. Should have gotten more time. Absolutely. 3 years. Let me see. I was something else I wanted to show y'all. Okay, this is something that, let me see if I can find the clip on it. Hold on, you guys. I'm gonna pull this back up because it timed out on me. Whoop, if I can find it. I'm trying to wait till my page load back up. But what this is, I think that one is pretty much talking about. This one right here is pretty much talking about the trafficking of fentanyl and something about our fish I had read about. It says the U.S. Department of Justice recently announced an indictment charging Los Angeles-based associates of Mexico's drug cartel for compromising with money laundering network linked to Chinese underground bankers in the United States. Why do Chinese people have underground banker? You know, what I don't understand is why they're even buying up so much land over here. It says the case highlights the growing collaboration between Chinese criminal network in Mexico cartel, extending to the provision of prosecutors. Let me let you guys see that. It says pharmaceutical equipment for drug production as a well cooperation in the trafficking of wildlife and endangered fish. I don't think that we have yet to, we haven't even held them accountable for COVID. Like nobody wants to talk and say nothing about that. That came from a lab in China. And I pull this up so you guys can see it yourself. And that is where I read this from. You can see the website that I use. And like it says, I'm just scanning through this, you guys. The 5-year investigation resulted in 24 people charged with 5 million in narcotics proceeding, confiscated. Oh my gosh. The seizure of 302 pounds of cocaine. I don't know if I can say all that on here because they be policing everything I say. It's just, it's basically just saying how the Chinese is networking with Mexico. I got one more clip. And this one is pretty much, and what we already know is how they're weaponizing our immigration system. They're weaponizing our immigration system, and they're the ones who are encouraging mass migration. That was another point I wanted to make with you guys. So you guys do know that, like when they come over here and what we're able to charge them with now is visa fraud, because when they come to the USA, to the United States, and have a medical procedure, and that is what they consider childbirth to be, you are required to disclose that on your visa, and they're not doing it. And there's many Americans that's pissed about it. And you wonder why many of us are feeling like we're like this. If you go I always go back to the beginning, and when speaking of beginning, when America got its first independence back in 1790s, we wanted to be away. We broke away from the British crown and them having control over us, just for them to come back in, I think this started back in 1965 when you saw the mass migration, and now you have so many communists These are people from other countries that do not respect our laws. They're changing them. And when you start to changing that, it's not America anymore. It said both of those groups have large gangs in Los Angeles. Yeah, I think they're trying to take over Los Angeles, Texas, Colorado. You guys name some more. But I wanted to bring this to you guys. I'm so happy that we got to cover this together. And I wanted to show that this is something Barack Obama he believed in as well. Now he may have got a lot of backlash about it, and I see that there's many. Well, I'll say a few people that are saying what President Trump administration is doing when it comes to deportation is just theater. I don't see it that way. And I also was speaking about a lot of people was frustrated saying that the ICE, whether you guys let me know if you guys support what ICE is doing or not. Me personally, I see the ICE officials, they're human beings, they're doing their job. They have been assigned to do that. And many people are getting it mixed up, like they have the same um like they go by the same rules as police officers, but they don't go by the same warrants like the judiciary warrants. They have what's called administration warrant, where they don't have to go to a judge in order to receive their warrants. Their administration, they receive their warrants from them. Like the ICE agents have that's the immigration, our immigration law enforcement, it does not have the same laws or rules as our police officers. They specifically are the reason why we have that is for those undocumented immigrants, illegal immigrants, so that they can um, arrest them and deport them, because many of them have overstayed their visas. They're actually showing you what these charges are. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comments area, and we can continue this in the comments. I think I covered everything. Thank you guys for joining. I see you guys in the comments area. Bye.